It's hard enough for us, the adults, when someone asks questions about the educational path we've chosen, especially if there's the slightest hint of judgment or if we're having a moment where we don't feel that confident. We could do a whole nother podcast on why we care so much about other people's opinions and their approval, even people we barely know, or even people who don't parent like we do or make any choices that we value. We just don't want to be judged. We really do want everyone's approval. Then we'll decide who we pay attention to, right? Yeah. I have a lot of ideas about all that. So when I get that podcast done, I'll add it into the description and the show notes. But today the topic keeps coming up about the kids and how we can help them navigate this time of year too. We spent a section of our planning meeting last Monday in my membership group talking about this very thing. It comes up often, actually. Our kids are out there rubbing elbows and crossing paths with people all the time. And whether they're really just curious or they're trying to satisfy their own defensiveness, we can help our kids know how to navigate this. Questions like, what grade are you in? What's your favorite subject? Or even, don't you miss all the cool things we do in school? I want to give you some ideas, even some scripts to use or individualize as you see fit, and some overall thoughts on this that I think are really important. But if you're new to the Unschooling Mom2Mom podcast, welcome. I'm Sue Patterson, the creator and your guide here and at all things Unschooling Mom2Mom. I've been making resources and helping families since the 90s when we walked away from the school system. My kids are all in their 30s now, and I have a lot to share with you, what works and what doesn't. And because parents all learn differently too, I have a variety of free and paid ways to help you. Guides, PDFs, blog posts at the unschoolingmom2mom.com website, as well as 4 seasons of podcasts and nearly a decade of videos at YouTube. I have courses about jumping into unschooling and learning math without a curriculum. And my favorite, the membership group, Creating Confidence. I love helping parents figure out how to tackle the specific problems that they're facing. And that's what we do in that group. And I love collecting other parents in a private community where we can brainstorm with each other and commiserate and help each other figure out what our next steps might be. And this is a good month to join us because I have slashed the price for a year of support. Paying monthly is always an option, and my podcast listeners and YouTube subscribers don't have to pay the $99 sign-up fee, so it's only $49 a month. But the August special allows you to pay way less than that. And then you don't have to worry about it for the whole year. You'll have a coach and a community on standby. I'll link to this too. Okay, back to helping the kids this week. Let's tackle the easy questions first. What grade are you in? I know, unschoolers don't divide life up into grades. And sure, if you wanted, you could explain why this is. What's your motivation? How learning really works. But from your kids' perspective, not only do they not know all of that, but they probably don't care. They may not even realize that this could be the most asked question of their entire childhood. But you know this. And if you didn't, you do now. People ask this for a few different reasons. Other kids are gathering data about your kid. And if they go to school, their whole world is set up based upon the question, what grade are you in? Store checkout clerks think it's an easy question to fill the airspace, like asking about the weather or a sports team. So if our kids stand there like a deer in headlights, that easy question didn't go how they thought it was going to go. And it adds to the data of what's wrong with this kid. That shouldn't have been a loaded question. They just don't know, neither the asker or the askee. So figure it out for the kids. Most kids start kindergarten at age 5, and then they turn 6 that year. So count up from there. First grade, 6 or 7 years old. Second grade, 7 to 8 years old, and so on. I've made a little graphic that I'll put over at the website so that you could click it if you wanted to see it a little bit bigger. Sometimes they just need a quick answer, and this is an easy fix. Okay, next question. What's your favorite subject? Some kids may respond with, we don't do subjects. Others just shrug and say, I don't know. First, remember that that's the response of most school kids. I don't know. So yours is no different there. It's just that when you're an outlier, as we are, then suddenly everybody spins it around and says, oh, there's another reason they're screwing up their kids. They can't even answer simple questions like grade levels or subjects. Sure, school kids are categorized in groups by grade level for everything. So of course they remember what grade they're in. But it's not really an indication of anything else. So for that subjects question, help them out ahead of time. What are their hobbies? What topics interest them? Let them know what the typical school subjects are: language arts and math and science and social studies and technology and fine arts and PE. Which of these subjects would their hobby fall into? They love Minecraft. They're into technology mainly. Enjoying a new puppy? We're really into animal science lately. Playing matching games on your phone or apps like Sudoku? Math puzzles are my favorite these days. Watching historical documentaries or even blockbuster movies about different time periods? You can say history. See what I mean? It's rare that anyone's going to take it any farther than that, so you might need to help them, though, in case they do. I've been learning a lot about the Civil War, or if you've been watching movies about that time period, or I'm learning a lot about the government lately as conversations turn towards politics and the elections. It's okay to say art is my favorite. And then remind the kids how they like to draw or paint or do paper mache or whatever they like. These would be additional things to add if somebody asked. But usually, just the subject is all the questioner wants. So that's all that needs to be said. Remind the kids that quick answers like this will help them feel good to have an answer that they can get out of the hot seat quickly. Plus, it might help them if they have some lingering concerns that they're not really learning anything, because they are. They're just learning it in a different way. Sometimes the kids are hanging with other kids and the questions get harder. Like, don't you miss seeing your friends every day or doing all the fun stuff we do at school? Who is asking, and your own kid's personality will dictate how they respond. But some answers I've heard that work and that you can share with your own kids so they can borrow for themselves. They can say things like, what are you talking about? I see kids all the time at the park, at my co-op, in dance classes, wherever they see other kids. They could even say, we even get to have sleepovers in the middle of the week while y'all are focusing on school. Or we went to Disneyland last week while y'all were in school, or we hang out with friends at the park every week, or some other cool place that you and the kids have gone to recently. Just remind them. Then they can say, don't worry about me. We do a lot of fun stuff. Even just having that as a script will help them. Then help them think of all the fun things that they get to do while the other kids are trudging off to school or sitting in a classroom. Or they could simply say, why do we always have to talk about school? What kind of fun things do you do in your real life? It's perfectly okay to share what you like about the choice your family has made, even if it's different from everybody else. And it's good data for you to see how your kids respond. That will tell you what kind of information they need to move through all this. And if you need more support on this topic, we have 2 group coaching calls every week in my membership group, plus a variety of ways to connect within the community. It might be a good idea to get support for yourself as we move into this next school year. Reach out if you need more information. I'm here, and I'll be back again next week. Oh, just a quick reminder. Next week, looking at my calendar, August the 22nd, we're doing a webinar, our Not Back to School annual party. Be sure to register. It's free. Let's kick off the new year together.